So, when last we left our intrepid adventurers, we were invading this flying castle that had been destroying towns. Basically, we hunted this thing down. We got ahead of it. We waited for it. It started destroying the town we were in, and so then we snuck on board. Well, snuck. We did a heroic jump across into a tower and started fighting everyone.
Surprised your way on board.
Yeah. And it turned out that the place was
the
full...
guys are down there killing townsfolk, and all of a sudden the heroes burst in. They're like, "No, not comeuppance!"
Wasn't expecting them to ever fight back.
Thanks.
So anyway, turned out the place was full of drow and myconids, mushroom people. So we started killing our way up the castle. A whole lot of killing our way up the castle. We found some of the magical mechanism that was involved in keeping the castle aloft. And it's huge and elaborate. There's all this, electrified webbing and control panels and crystals and nonsense and stuff like that. Lots of magic circles. And all these drow and myconids are like working to keep it all running.
And they killed them all.
Yeah, so we killed them all. So now it's all a little bit out of control. And as we kill more of them, it gets more and more out of control. So last session ended with us in the middle of a fight in this big central shaft thing that had this, tower of electrified webbing up the center, and catwalks going up around not catwalks, but a pathway going up around the edges of this tower, this big central shaft. And it was kind of an interesting three-dimensional battle because there were drow and myconids on all these different levels. It's a big spiral thing going up.
And there were spikes coming out into the center that were controlling the energy, and there was a hovering platform, and there was people at all of these levels.
So there was a lot of maneuvering and running around and ranged shots and people knocking people off of things and stuff like that. It was very cool. But that fight we had to end in the middle. So we resumed after like 3 or 4 weeks break.
Yeah, I think it was 4 weeks off.
Yeah, in the middle of the fight. We're like, what's going on? But we figured it out fairly quick.
Yeah, it took us a while, I think, to get back into the groove of things, but we did it.
So, I'm trying to remember now. There was a couple of drow wizards on the upper levels.
Yeah, that were sort of they'd kind of come to the point where they could see the heroes, and they were shooting black lightning at them.
Yeah,
and just before we broke last time, one of the drow wizards had shot a big area effect of black lightning on the party, and that hit them, and it also had supercharged the central core, and it was getting charged up with black lightning, and that didn't seem very good. And the other drow who was trying to keep it under control, started cursing out the guy at the top, and then they killed him. So now this thing is kind of out of control with black lightning, which is apparently not supposed to happen.
Yeah, he was all like, "Stop fighting! I have to save us all!"
Who killed him? The party?
The party, yeah.
So that's going on. And there's a couple, they'd killed most of the myconids on their level, but there was 2 more coming from the upper level, and there was one that had that was fancier and had more magical powers that was engaging Croesus. Yeah. That was sort of where it started.
Yeah. So, who was it that made the myconid helpless? That was...
Serendipity.
That happened very quickly, if I recall.
Well, it wasn't you, it must have been Serendipity, because...
The helpless part was someone else. I think it was... Yes, Serendipity, I guess.
Serendipity had a new daily. Right,
the thing that makes you scared. Yes.
Yeah, she made a fake, an illusory T-Rex appear.
Yeah, well, the description of the spell was that it was an illusory Grim Reaper that, made the subject all terrified and helpless because they're cowering before this thing. But she decided that a Grim Reaper didn't really fit what she was going with. And she wanted to... No, what happened was... it immobilizes you and makes you helpless. And so I joked about how, because everyone knows that Grim Reaper's vision is based on movement. And that's why if there's a Grim Reaper there, you have to stay very still.
I didn't hear that part.
That was why Serendipity and Ghost Rider Moore decided to go T-Rex.
Ah.
So it's like, oh right, it's not a Grim Reaper, it's a T-Rex.
Okay. Now that actually makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah.
I know the term a little bit, but yeah. I said, whatever. It's a spell. She can flavor text it however she wants. So
now
it was an illusory T-Rex, and she terrified one of the drow wizards and a myconid with it.
Yeah. The drow wizard, I think, she missed, and so he wasn't helpless. He was just like dazed for a round or something.
He was immobilized for one round.
Yeah, but the myconid was helpless, and helpless is awesome because you can coup de grace helpless folks. However, this myconid was way far away. None of us could get to it.
Yeah, they were on the lower level, and the myconid was at the top of the stairs up to the second level.
Yeah, but he was right next to that drow. I just got a new daily too, because we just leveled up. It is, what was it? Song of Discord, I think, is the name of it.
Dun dun
Dun dun dun.
You would pick that.
It's pretty awesome because it allows you, if you hit your target, to dominate them for one round.
Which actually makes sense with the pony show.
So I hit the drow wizard with this power, and I had him coup de grace the myconid next to him. Which was pretty awesome. It didn't kill him outright because the wizard didn't have any really heavy-hitting melee type powers, but the one he did have had 2 squares of pushback, and they're like standing out on a ledge. So it did a fair bit of damage, but it also pushed the myconid off the edge. Unfortunately, he made a save, so he's clean just barely to the edge.
Yeah, it was. They have a special ability because they'd already kind of seen it where the myconid was walking on sideways on the ripped bridge. So the myconid's feet have roots that hold them on. So they get a bonus to their save to avoid being pushed off a ledge. And because he only made a save because of that and he was helpless, I said he was just helpless sticking straight out from the ledge by his feet.
So when my next turn came around, I hit him with Staggering Note and finished the job of knocking him off the ledge because it was a lot easier.
Yeah, I took away his bonus.
So
And they asked, when he falls to the ground, can that coup de grace him? Because he was still helpless. And I was like, he's completely helpless and he just falls straight onto the ground. Sure, the ground will coup de grace him. So it killed him.
Did massive damage. I was going to argue that since the floor is part of this magic castle, it counts as a magic item and should get plus bonuses on the critical hit. But then it turns out NPCs don't get that anyway. So.
It was above the threshold for insta kill, and it killed him anyway. So he was dead.
Yeah. And then the melee guys who are fighting their way up this spiral ramp thing, they get fighting with this myconid, and Hank, the Barbarian, goes running up to this myconid, and he gets the most amazing critical hit as well. What was it? It was a life-ending strike.
He used his rage. He used his daily rage ability, which did I think it did 44 weapon damage, and his weapon does 2d6. So it did 8d6 damage. Yeah. Plus he used a bunch of other stuff to boost it, and then he critted, so that's all maximized. Mm-hmm. Plus he gets some d6s on top of that. So he destroyed that myconid. It just
one hit just blew it in half.
It was too bad because it was the first crit I think that's qualified for the because if you do massive damage on a crit, according to my crit table, you get a permanent effect. And that one was
15 ongoing permanently.
Permanent, just lasts forever. I mean, I assume that happened to. I mean, they could maybe go get healed or something, but the deal is that there's permanent. You can't fix it in this combat. You can't fix it quickly. He's just going to bleed out and die for sure. Mm-hmm. But he died anyway because it was such a massive. He just crashed through him with his hammer, and he exploded into chunks of fungus and bone.
So let's see what else happened in that fight. Oh right, alley-oop. We have to talk about alley-oop. So it's a spiral ramp, so as we're running up it, it's a long way to run to get like a level above where you are. So we whittled them down to, I think 2 drow were left. And they each told the other, hold them off while I go get...
Yeah, that's awesome. Hold them off while I go get the others. No, you hold them off.
So they both ran for it.
Yeah, they had a big fight and then both ran.
We know that they're going for reinforcements, which means we have to stop them. And they wind up a full spiral circuit ahead of Cricket and Croesus and a couple others of the party. Who was separated? I think, was everyone there? Was the whole party in one spot? That's weird.
Almost all of the party was right together, more or less.
Yeah. So they've run around, and it's going to be quite a run to catch up with them. And they're out of sight of our ranged attacks because they're basically directly above us. Fortunately, Cricket has this ability that she picked up when she multi-classed to Assassin. Shadow Step, Shadow Stride, something like that.
Wait a minute. Gentle Cricket?
Yes.
The willing slave has multi-classed into Assassin.
She just picked up a few of their tricks.
Yeah. She's not going to kill anyone unless she gets told to, or really, really wants to, as it turns out. We'll get to that.
She's gaining sentience.
She feels bad about that.
Cricket did something that she feels guilty for.
Very, very guilty. It's going to come up in future. But anyway, this isn't it. It allows you, if you're standing adjacent to a creature, you step into one person's shadow and come out of another person's shadow. So, Cricket is standing next to Serendipity, Ben Goldstar and Malor. And so, she turns to Serendipity, Ben Goldstar and Malor and says, "Excuse me, my lady, if you'll pardon me for just a sec." And then she dives into her shadow, because she needs a shadow, and pops out of the guy's shadow up topside. Meanwhile, Croesus, he sees this, and he's like, "Oh, I have to get up there too." He has an ability that lets him teleport 2 squares. Now, the way Tim plays Croesus has no idea he can teleport. These things just happen sometimes, and they confuse him greatly, but he runs with it. He'll suddenly teleport, and he'll be next to an enemy, and he'll be like, "What?" and start flailing madly. He's like, "What just happened?"
I was going to say, is none of your party unnerved by the fact that you jumped into someone's shadow?
Ooh, Cricket?
Yeah. That's not a normal thing.
She's done what they do actually. Yeah. So anyway, Croesus sees this, figures he has to do it too. He doesn't know how Cricket did that, but he can do that. Got to get through the floor. But since his teleport is only 2 squares, he can't teleport straight up. He needs to get an additional square up. So, who was it? It was Hank.
Hank, yeah.
Croesus says to Hank, "I need a boost." And he runs over to Hank. And Hank, does the thing like that. And alley-oop sort of throws him up at the ceiling. And then Croesus teleports through the ceiling.
Yeah, just so his head gets line of sight above the floor.
Yeah.
You basically, Croesus thought he was jumping up there, but he totally didn't make it enough at all.
Yeah.
But just so he could barely see the target, I guess his head, and then he teleported up there. Which is, of course, Tim's plan, but Croesus just thought he was going to be boosted up there.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't have worked. He would have failed horribly and fallen to his death.
And so Aurora sees all this and is just fascinated by how we're all jumping through the floor and stuff, and she's got to try that someday as well. She isn't right now.
You teach her to teleport to with shadows.
She's not really a shadow-based character.
Yeah. Or an assassin.
Yeah. So anyway, we both got up there, and Cricket, Timeless Trek of Mithrendained one of the drow, which puts him out of combat save ends. And then we went to deal with the other one and killed him. And then we all are waiting for this guy to come back from the timeless trek of Mithrende.
When one thing that happened is when they were fighting that drow, he used his thing to push Croesus off the edge, and Croesus was going to fall down below. But Hank cinematically grabbed his hand and pulled, and because he was right below him, right, he pushed him off the upper floor. Hank grabbed him and pulled him onto the edge, and then hoisted him up.
That's right. That was cinematic. Gotta remember the cinematic stuff.
But then they killed the drow.
Yeah. And then the one that was off on the timeless trek of Mithrende came back, and we knocked him out. Hank did. Cricket had to make a diplomacy check to get Hank to knock him out rather than killing him. Because we wanted to interrogate someone. And Hank really wanted to kill him. So, we got this guy knocked out, and then we revive him as our prisoner to interrogate him and ask him, what's with the flying castle? Why are you killing people? Why are you kidnapping people? And most importantly, have you seen this box that we're looking for? It's this wooden box, it's got no seams.
The guy became fairly clear that he wasn't willing to betray any great secrets. He would rather die, but he was willing to tell pointless things, possibly in the notion that probably the heroes are going to die when they try to go further in anyway.
Yeah. But he wouldn't tell us about the box, the most important thing.
Well, they asked him about the box, and he was like, "Why are you asking about a box? Have you seen this box? We were going after this box. It belongs to us." And we're no. And
we're like, we're not here about the whole town destroying thing. We're looking for the box. Tell us where the box is, man. But he was made of stern stuff. He didn't tell us anything about the box.
So is the tower falling to the ground at this point?
It's not falling, but it is in trouble.
It's no one's maintaining it, and some things are going wrong with it because of electricity. So nothing really bad is happening yet, but if it continues in this state, it's going to start to get damaged. It doesn't seem like much has gone wrong enough that the control room may not even know anything's going wrong yet. Serendipity did quite a bit of figuring out of the stuff, and she's figured out how she can make the damage. Right now, it'll probably be half an hour before any damage happens, but she can probably crank stuff up so it's in 5 minutes, and she can mess with lots of stuff. But right now it's sort of it's gonna start. Things are gonna go south, start going south in about half an hour if it's left to its own devices.
Now, originally we had a lot of thought about, hey, it's a flying castle. We can take it, and it'll be our flying castle, and we can use it to find the box. But after all this investigating that Serendipity Van Moore has been doing, she's kind of realized that this thing is freakishly complicated to keep in the air. There's a lot of stuff that has to be done all the time by a lot of people.
You don't have any Myconid slaves.
Yeah, and so we've sort of resigned ourselves to, we probably can't capture this thing, and if we did, we can't really use it very well, so let's destroy it. But maybe not right away, because we're inside it, and we haven't found the box yet, which is probably hidden in here somewhere. So, there's that. Then we asked this guy some more stuff about, hey, why are you killing towns and kidnapping people? And we do manage to get him to let slip something. He let slip that they've actually been taking their captives and turning them into Myconids. That's why they got bone inside.
Yeah, they throw them into the fungus pit, is what he said.
Yeah, and they come out as Myconids, and then they control them and stuff like that. And so that's when Cricket starts seeing red, because these guys are slavers. It's a sort of necromantic fungus type slavery thing, but it feels like slavery to her. So she's like, really, I'd like to kill this guy, please. And that's when she does something horrible. She takes initiative.
Oh
Yeah.
man, the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah.
Well, the party was kind of in disagreement. Some wanted to kill this
Yeah.
guy, but they had promised during the interrogation that they weren't going to kill him. They were going to leave him tied up on the lowest level
Yeah.
and just leave him there, so that if the heroes do manage to crash the tower, he's dead. But that was no better than no worse. And if the heroes all get killed, then his allies will come rescue him, right?
Yeah.
But
But
so they had promised to.
There's some disagreement about this. I mean, Hank was still in a killing mood, I believe. Serendipity, my gold side of Aurora is scary. She was less in a killing mood and more of a torturing to death mood. She was like, "Hey, this is a drow. They hate sunlight. Let's tie him up and leave him in the desert to die." Yeah. We need to go to the desert so we can leave him there. Stuff like that. So she was sort of a double plus vote for killing the guy. And
But
Yeah.
because you promised, Croesus wanted to keep the promise, so he said, "Okay, we should take him to the lower level." And so did Aurora. Said we should take him down to the lower level.
yeah. And
Cricket may have interpreted that a little bit in a bit of a legalistic fashion.
Croesus said told Cricket to take him to the lowest level as fast as she could, and then come back. So she shoved him off the catwalk. So he plummeted.
And he was
died.
tied up and almost dead, so
Yeah.
that killed him.
Yeah. And so, Cricket did a horrible thing. She took initiative. And, yeah. Yeah. And she's going to be feeling very guilty about this. She's done bad. It's going to be quite amusing because the two that were in most, I don't know if they're fully in disagreement, but they were ambivalent about the whole "we should kill him" thing, are the two that have been most insistent that they don't want to give Cricket orders and stuff. Croesus and Aurora.
Yeah, they're the ones that Cricket essentially disobeyed them
Basically, yeah.
by following the letter of their command. But they're the ones who don't want her to follow their orders.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if the whole party had been unanimous, it would have been a lot clearer. And as much as she would have been distasteful about leaving that guy alive, she would have. But the combination of some of the party members did want to kill him, and the other party members were a little bit and left that room for interpretation. She sort of went beyond her mandate. But yeah. So, next session, she's going to have some soul searching to do.
You know what's really satisfying? Getting a nice, good, clean, solid, powerful hit on a monster that you're trying to kill. I haven't had a lot of luck with that in the past, but today, wow. That was a good hit. I popped that mushroom good. It's weird that there were bones in there, but yeah. Felt good. Even though I was pretty angry at the time, but well, a fierce combat makes me angry, and that's just how I am. And I like it. Felt good.
Dear Diary, today I learned a new, I think it's some kind of magical phrase or something. I saw it being used. And see, what happens is you rush up to someone and you say, "a loop." And when you say that, suddenly you disappear. And then I thought you disappear forever, but you don't. You actually disappear above yourself. Up and above where you were. I saw Cricket do it, and Croesus did it too. Croesus ran up to Hank and said, "a loop," and he was gone. And then Cricket ran up to Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malore and said, "A loop," and then she was gone. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until an excellent time to go up somewhere, and then I'm going to run up to maybe Cricket and say, "A loop," and I'm going to try it too. And I'm very excited. I'm sure it will work. I just have to find a place up high I really want to go. Maybe sometime when we see a nice tree that I'd like to climb or something. Maybe an apple tree. Then I could sit up in the apple tree and throw apples down to all my friends. Oh, I'm so excited I learned this new magical phrase. Isn't the world amazing?
I think Cricket might be hungry. She keeps saying words like avocado and eggplant. I think we better hurry up this mission and go take her to a restaurant or something. Also, what kind of magic word is alley-oop? I mean, it's effective. Stuff happened and people went places, but alley-oop? That's like no mage worth their 2 cents would use a magic word like alley-oop. Also, Cricket is really literal in her carrying out her instructions. I didn't think she had it in her to just push the guy off. Better be very careful what I say to her. Better double check. And always make sure there's no way she can interpret it any other way than how I want her to.
Cricket, I said take him down to the bottom by the fastest way possible. I think that was sending him to the bottom in the fastest way possible. You're in trouble, little lady.
No. This is horrible. This is horrible. I've done something horrible. This place, these people, they take people and they kill them and turn them into these things. This is the worst form of slavery, but that's no excuse. I've done something horrible. How could I killed that man on my own initiative.